I could see them just barreling down on positions, just like not playing the slower default rotations game as much on the attack, but like picking spots where they feel like that they can just isolate players and using the Leer to just get those 1-for-1s. And this map is so huge, the defenders can be quite spread out, especially towards that like market position possibly, depending on where the pressure fell earlier in the round. So I feel like Cloud9 are going to be able to find some really choice engagements to get the ball rolling on this attacking side.
What do we have? Mitch will be on the Killjoy this time, and Relics will be on Omen. 10's on the Reyna still. So a double flash composition with triple intel here. They're looking to know exactly what they're going to be doing before they're doing it, finding out where the side of Dignitas is before anything happens. Dig running with the comp. I know you like seeing the breach. We get it in here now, and we'll see how he's utilized.
It's really cool because, Poise, we know him to be on that stage a lot of the time, so it's kind of interesting to see the breach pull down. We'll have to see how that turns out in the game as we will kick things off here on the pistol. Mitch, the recipient of a shock dot.
That always feels good. Nice setup here. So no Sage on both sides. A lot of time for Ascent. You won't see that Sage being played, as utility can be used to retake the sites a little bit better from agents. But a lot of patience here. Looks like a retake on B with what would be Psalm stuff telling it that come in. Oh no! A quick TP into the site. That's going to be a quick hide for Superman as he's back in B. Very slow round as you see C9 trying to figure out what's going on, where they want to rush, and where is the Cypher? Where might we run into those traps first that would stop them?
Yeah, and we do get the spike rotating towards the A main position, which was taken care of. There was initial pressure from Dig there, but they gave it up instantly, and that's something that C9 looked for. And given that the round is quite late, the positions fall back out of the more central spots, so they get more ground up mid, more ground up cat for the split.
This is huge. Relics just saw that Omen smoke come all the way over from B from Superman, so he flashes up cat here, but Dig's hold is just too strong, even though Cloud9 thought they might have had the upper hand on the take, knowing the positioning of Dignitas. The shot's hitting. Oh my god, Shinobi comes up huge with 2, but it's going to be Superman to finish it off. Right up on top as 3 come out of heaven.
And that was I love that attack there from C9. Doesn't work out for them, but it was really methodical. And I wasn't sure, well, I'm still not sure, how their defaults are going to look, how their attacking rounds will look, how much they're going to emphasize playing it, trying to push and pull the defense, play those rotations, and get the advantages that way. But that round, they were really just playing a super slow pace, and it'd be really cool to see them open up the game like that when we get into the gun rounds, and then just start ramping up the pace changes later on. But they're on eco now, and it's the typical thing where we see 10s on that Sheriff, so that should be fun. Yeah,
I like seeing that. Shanks with a few kills that round. Looks like game 1 really hasn't put too much of or he's able to dust off the cobwebs, I should say, coming into game 2. So great to see that he can put up some kills on round number 1. We'll watch 10s with this Sheriff as he creeps up. Team's now going to give him some assistance as they pull direction over towards that B tiles area, but it looks like it might be a market take and see what they can get out of Dig right after they take this position.
Well, the drone gets the info of at least one player. I don't know if it spotted the Omen there as well. The cam comes out finally. That does get a tag, and they know where the second player is as well. So here comes the swing from Superman. They're trying to finish it off. They can't go in too much more, deeper than that, though. Now that they spotted that there's 3 players there, the initial engagement did not favor them, and they can disengage, which is a win. But in all of that action, we see that C9 will gain a lot of ground towards Catwalk and Tree, and they're going for that A hit.
Looks like the secondary was to end at A. You're right, DDK, and the opening to the site is going to be in favor of C9 for now, as they're able to get the bomb down just to the left there on Jenny, and kills from Supermen come in. It should be that Dignitas retakes the site without problem. Good for C9 to get that money down, though. I really like the opening of this round from both teams, trying to play the mid. Dig had patience. C9 looking for the kill. It played out really nicely, and the end of the round was C9 here trying to hit on the A side.
Yeah, and if you take stock of things afterwards, we see 2 kills and a spike plant. That's huge. That's a great result. If you're C9, you'll be very happy with that result. And moving forwards now, we mentioned the gun rounds and how those will play out. And the ball is in your court typically as the attackers to set the pace initially, unless Dig decide that they do want to go for some kind of a gelato take. I feel like every team that plays this map should have a gelato take in their playbook, but we'll see what Dig's approach is when they start to feel the aggression and pressure.
And if they can shut down Cloud9 here, Ascent is one of those maps, especially if you can't get enough money to maybe get an off-out to start some long shots, if that's the way you play it, is that it just feels like you can't get through the defense once they have a ton of rounds and a lot of bank behind them. So here the op from defensive side coming through. Can Shanks get a kill to start this one off? Day one for him was big on the opening kills. It's what changed the round. So he's going back to that position, trying to find a few of those first shots that would help his team.
The drone comes through, gets destroyed, but you can see that that forces Shanks back, which is very important. Having the Jet in an off angle there in B main, ready to get that instant kill is obviously not too fun. So they managed to force Shanks back, and in fact, Shanks will rotate all the way to A, so that if C9 do decide to end up going towards A, they will run into an operator angle without perhaps expecting it to be there. And we start to see more information play towards this A main position. The orb is taken. The presence is now known by Dig, but they still are not sure what's going on here. This ult is going to indicate an A place. This is a fake, and we can see that Sam is going to have some info towards B main, but I don't think he can stop the plant.
This is going to be perfect. If he can find them, this is exactly what he needs. The smokes from Shinobi were from 3 at B main over to A, with the 2 at A distracting. And they know the op might be in the back of the site. Where's the smoke for spawn? It comes in a little bit late, and Shanks finds a kill for himself. That's a trade, though, from Mitch onto Sam. And a little slow reaction here on the take. Does not fully allow. Oh, no, they actually are in the site. Sorry. Superman's waiting, though, as he gets the bomb down, and they don't have too much on the post plan, is what I was looking for.
Vice! Look at that look. All the way from the A main position. Able to cover for his teammates there really effectively. That double was so huge, and especially as Mitch, I think, had some uncharacteristic whiffs just prior to that. That really makes up for that. And now we're in a really strong position here for C9. If they get this, I don't know where the Sova Dart, what the cooldown is like on the Sova Dart, but that is so powerful in this site for whoever is able to play with it. And so they'll just hold on to the operator here, Dig.
So it seems like Cloud9 really wanting to run the clock out on a few of these rounds. As much information as they can on to Dig. They did see Shanks with the op and spawn. A lot of time passed. Maybe they wanted to get out of that spot, but he was still able to pick up a few frags for himself. Dig does keep the op in their hands as C9 finds their first round here on Ascent, their map pick, as they are attacking first, and Dignitas now under a bit of pressure. Can Shanks keep hitting the shots here as C9 will come up with their first gun round?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because so far, C9, that last round, we saw them do a really great job at just working back Shanks on the operator. He couldn't really find any spots to use it in B main. And at the same time, C9 were also able to get that A main presence and just made things look very confusing for Dig. They had no idea where the hit was going to come. They did manage to get a rotation in a timely fashion, and it really came down to that market play with Vice. That's what swung it in the favor of C9. But ultimately, Dig handled that round quite well despite losing a lot of information. So I feel like we're going to get a much closer game given what we've seen so far on Ascent.
Yeah. Quick pause here, as it looks like we are waiting on Superman back in the spawn of the defender side. Not too much just being set up here with 28 seconds left, so we'll see what they do decide. We can see what Cloud9 has in mind, though, having Shinobi over towards the B side. It looks like they may want to work towards A. We never know if the bomb dropped. There are some times when you start around and you say, we'll do all of this, but our idea is to end B. Kind of have that idea in mind. A lot of times you're flowing through the round with just information, and you work off that information. There's a lot of ways and styles to play these. We'll see how they decide to go about this one. They put Killjoy over towards that B side too, so a little bit of sentinel duty as they'll know if there's a push from Dig.
I do love the Omen and the Breach. I just love how strong both of the flashes are. So I'm curious how that's going to look as we move forward. What Poise is able to show us with that Breach. And right now we've seen a fairly slow start for both sides. I think it can be quite common to see both teams feeling it out, as it were, before they start to really figure out how they want to approach the game, because you want to get a sense as to the kind of pace the attackers are playing, what is the main emphasis to begin with their defaults, before you just sort of blanket start throwing stuff at them. And you don't have to play that style. You could just go for it, and if you have a really good game plan, you're really confident in your set plays as a defenders. But right now we're seeing like a pretty normal flow, I would say.
Yeah, and I think one thing you always have to remember about Ascent, and people have seen this in their games, is you can get a very lopsided CT score or even T score. And you see the same thing. You kind of see that replay on the other half. You might go to overtime or it gets very close. So I never really am like, oh, this game is won on Ascent. It just has that comeback ability or throw of the mentality, and a team can get a hold if you do have enough money, you keep range, and you're hitting your shots. C9 coming back with their gun rounds do seem to have a little bit more power behind them as we're waiting for DC to get back into the game. Shouldn't be too long. Thank you for your patience. But yeah, Cloud9 do look like they are a little bit more hungry coming in here, and we're starting to see that in Game 2 from Dignitas. It didn't look like Dig was ready for Game 1. They ran the same strats over and over without success or variation, and when we did see them vary it up and go Garage and different things on Haven, we saw that success. So maybe they go variety outside the box a little bit more with what they do. We're seeing them on D here, but T side, I'll have a watchful eye on Dig.
Yeah, and I think it's worth mentioning too, when we did see Dig play so well against TSM yesterday on Haven, a lot of it was, I feel like, characterized by them having done prep on TSM, just knowing exactly what to expect, TSM having a really slow start, and also we saw a really, really, really good defensive side from them. And obviously we saw them get absolutely shut down on their attacking side just then, which wasn't necessarily what impressed me the most of what we saw yesterday. But indeed, moving into Ascent, I'm kind of curious, where Shanks will find value, because so far we've seen from C9 that they're playing quite cautiously, making sure that they can try to shut down any early plays and shenanigans from Shanks. So he may have a hard time, but as I say that, the action is about to do the talking for us as we get back into the game.
And while Ascent does lend itself to opping, it doesn't lend itself as much to the op move, kind of what you see with oppers on Haven defense. A Jet could op short, then she ops long, maybe she's on top of B first. So I think Shanks was also able to play off that a lot, being able to change his position, mess with the enemy team. Here, it's a little bit more straightforward. If you see the opera somewhere, they probably aren't rotating too hard to a different site that's already fully held by their teammates. We'll see what happens at the beginning of this one. Mitch, very low to start things off, basically dead in that health bar.
Pretty slow start here. The A main emphasis coming in from C9. They have some mid control as well. A teleport across the angle from their Omen, Relics, as he is going to extend for some dark cover to deny some information, and he's able to take this forward positioning if he wants to or suggest it. He's shooting, so he's suggesting that he can be behind that smoke, and that's important.
I love the camera here inside B main for Dignitas. It just allows them so much freedom and movement, knowing no one's there. Still waiting with Sova as they start to rotate over to the site. Cloud9 pushing in now as it's a trade back and forth. Dignitas still looking good on defense, but they have to retake the site. Shanks looking from the top. They don't know he's up there just yet, but as he looks to the mid, TenZ finds it. The timing, TenZ has this game. Psalm answers back with the Odin, and this could be it, the 1v1. Which Sova's better, DDK?
Well, I think there's more utility on... I'm actually not sure who has more utility here, but Shinobi will try to find the headshot, and Psalm can't get it done. The kind of startup time of the Odin is not amazing in those situations, and when it's just gun versus gun. If he was able to get a recon dart out there or something like that, the Odin starts to be pretty scary, but...
Imagine if the Odin had a wind-up. You just hear him not peek out yet, and then he starts walking sideways. Oh my, I'm heading for the hills. Great play there by Shinobi to pick it up. Another switch up here as Relics is on the Omen. Shinobi is not this game, so variety coming in again for Cloud9 as they feel like they can keep switching these comps around to bring spice.
Spice, yes, it's the variety of life.
It is, indeed.
That's what my mom always said. Anyways.
Smart mom, smart mom.
We'll see if there's any variety off of the default, because we do have the spike drop towards B main. Doesn't mean too much at this point. Can always be rotated back, and we want that A main presence. And looks like we're getting another pause coming in here, and
at 1 second.
Yeah, I don't know if it's well. I guess we can talk about what we saw, at least. We have, a Cypher, Sova, and Reyna towards the A main position. Looks like they were going for that early pressure. And I've been liking that with the breach. One of the first things we're seeing at the start of these rounds is the fault line that's going to be sent down towards A main. They're not really doing anything behind it, but it does slow things down a little bit because it creates a disparity in the timings, and because it will slow you down if you get caught in it, and you can place it into the choke point. If they wanted to swing into it, they then have to spend a little bit more to make that swing safer, because they can't beat you to the angle as effectively. So it's a nice little touch, and it's free.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really interested in how Breach's abilities are still to be used. Now I forget his Q, the blast.
Aftershock.
Aftershock, thank you. Looking at how Aftershock is used, I've said this a few times, and it's not a flash. Don't take that away from what I'm saying. But it obstructs your view completely. So you take situations where Breach is amazing on split, and you're looking into B Heaven, right? Through Mailroom, B Heaven, and you throw that blast into Heaven. Anybody looking down there can't stand there. They can't see crap. So this, on top of being able to rush behind that, get into your opponents, I think utilizes more of that denial of vision. They know you're coming, but man, do they have to leave. Then you have Vault Line after that, and everything else you can use it. There's still a few ways I think people are figuring out how to use him to the fullest extent.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think that a lot of the value of Breach too comes from spending a lot of time having these kind of drills set plays, and especially given the fact that in North America, at least, we have this very duelist centric approach, which is very aggressive. We're not seeing the emphasis placed there as much, it feels like, whereas in Europe it's definitely a little bit right now a bit more regimented in terms of the Breach usage, and it's really interesting seeing Breach's strengths put to use when you look at some of the European games and seeing how like a map like Bind, for example, can look completely different. Like some of the very strong positions or hard to deal with positions, Breach has a lot of abilities that can suddenly solve these spots. Like let's say U-Haul on Bind, for example. Breach is amazing at dealing with that otherwise difficult spot. And
I think there's a lot of things to still be learned in just the essence of everything, the ins and outs of the games, the ranges of where you can be, what things you can do, right? To bring up one that people should probably know, but we don't, how far does a Sova dart sonar? Right? You can actually ping distance when you ping. So if you know that, and say you're standing in Haven A, where there is a distance to get out of sonar dart, as we're just talking about stuff, you ping where the dart gets shot, and if you can back up to, say, 35 meters and it pings 30, you don't have to do anything with that dart. But are those being utilized, right? Instead of just shooting it and being like, whoa, I had to hide from that. That goes to the very, very tiny things you can do, but these are the things that are still being sussed out and pushing each other and allowed to push each other to the limits once we get there.
Yeah, it's a really good point, actually. I've been wondering about that because as someone that does play quite a bit of Sova, on the retake arrow from spawn on binds towards the B site, where you kind of shoot it above hookah. That's a dart that doesn't actually reach all the way to the ground necessarily.
Right.
So it's like
it's good to know.
Yeah, I'm always a little bit curious as to how far that really goes.
It's kind of the Haven arrow take. Sova would shoot from B, only sees about to the waist of everyone in sight, right? So a little bit of an idea if you were to ping that corner, you can get an idea. All these things still to be figured out. I mean, Killjoy is just getting into our games here in tournaments, as she was recently released and allowed to push up here. Oh my word, Superman. It doesn't seem like he's having any internet problems now.
Yeah, kind of they played against the dart there. That's going to be, well, we can talk about that later. We get the full push coming in through a split through onto that B site through market and B main. And there's not all that much ready to deal with this for Dig, as they are on these pistols. So they're going to lose the site. We talked about how your chances to do anything on a bad buy when a spike goes down plummet. And one thing that's interesting is using the cam. Like, there is definitely a punish. I think it's like 45 seconds, isn't it, after, on the cooldown after it gets destroyed? Yeah, so there is, it's interesting, like, because at the beginning of the round, we see that sometimes you clear positions with the cam, and there are some certain spots which you can most of the time get the cam back, but there's spots like that with A main where it's going to get destroyed. So at least it's at the very beginning of the round, but you can see that, and in that instance, he's able to get a tag with it, and then set his crosshair placement, but there's another player that was obscured, so able to play against the information that the guy gets. It's always a fun one. It's like when you let the Sova dot hit you, and you use yourself as bait for your teammate or something like that.
I love that. I'm actually somebody who gets shot by a Cypher dart, and I press W even harder.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, you think that's gonna win you this fight? 3-2 here. C9 kind of rolls through a quick round, and we see Dig going back to the double off. They did this on Haven versus TSM. It's Def and Shanks. We saw him at the top of the KDA list, which has been tarnished a bit, but they're gonna look to get it back here and even up this map. C9 pulling away a little if they can get this round.
Speaking of the cams,
Yep.
get a quick cam out there for Def, and part of the reason there as well is that it would, if someone's holding the angle, they'll shoot that first, which allows you to take the angle away from them. It's kind of like how flashbangs work in CS, but some initial pressure there from A main here coming in from C9, and they grab the orb as well, and it's one away from Hunter's Fury for the Sova.
I'm always interested in watching how long the bomb is down, right? The first 30 seconds of the round seems free. A team will be happy with the bomb being down, even if it's in spawn, as we saw right now. At a minute, start to gather, formulate the plan, still leave whatever intel is on the flank, as C9 kind of plays this one methodically, and they're not really giving too much to be seen after they lose one. Still with the cams up is kind of just making everybody play slow on this. A peek out from Def onto Cat, and he'll be able to give the information. They don't see anything mid, so it's going to probably be a site take here. So Dig is aware of that. They're just not sure which one. Yeah,
the Cypher was being really active around A main, really making it sound like a lurk. Sound like I'm trying to make noise to distract you, and in reality, it is indeed going to be a play in towards the A side. That's what it looks like, but with that Killjoy getting dropped, what's the reaction going to be? We get the Paranoia coming through, the Hunter's Fury from Psalm there going out as well, and right now there's only 15 seconds to plant the spike, and the spike is way too far away. Oh, that fell flat on his face.
Okay, so I was kind of giving C9 the benefit of the doubt that 1 minute was going to be enough time for them, but everything seemed to stall in Gelato. Maybe they picked up some ice cream for each other? I'm not sure, but that round did not seem like a very C9 round.
Yeah, it felt like one of those rounds where you have a plan, it just takes you just took too long. You simply just you overestimated how much time you needed, or underestimated, sorry. And that's really annoying to lose rounds like that, because you didn't even get to really play the round out.
Yep.
So we'll see if there's a change here in pace for C9 after, because they played mostly very slow rounds. We have a lot of players towards this B main position. Shanks is there once again, and Shanks is also forcing them to have to use a lot of stuff to clear him, and he gets to trade a lot of that utility for a dash. So that's a great value trade, I would say, that has Dig favorable. But speaking of which, they have lost Def on that Cypher. Towards that catwalk position at the early timing of the rounds.
Yeah, not a soul in mid now. Weird style so far. I mean, teams know what they're doing, but it just seems like the map is being left so open here, and mid information may give up of what C9 kind of wants to do in Dig's eyes. If they can see somebody they know, and the site's not getting rushed, they can play a little safer. So C9 is looking to play completely in the shadows here in these past few rounds, really taking their time, pushing Dig down to 30-second site takes here. A shot towards B starts to alert that info, and we'll see if the ultimate now can come out. Shinobi does get a kill onto Psalm, actually, so he finds one from across the map.
Yeah, this is really well played by C9. We'll get the push coming in here. Shanks has a lot to do. Whiffs the first shot on the jump across, and that might just seal his fate. In the head as well. Mitch is blown into last week with that one, and it's going to be the plant coming through with the spike with just 20 seconds remaining. Superman will get taken down by Relics, who had that TP earlier into the spawn. And this is a great round from C9. They just cut their noise, and in that situation, you want to wait long enough that you could have walked all the way back towards A. Yeah. And then we saw because of the drone, because not only was it the drone, but there was Cypher pressure in A main. That's all the information that Dig then had. So they're kind of forced to commit towards A. And then the other cool detail as well is that with the operator, I think, who was it from C9 with the operator there on B main? I'm going to say it was Mitch. If you take the further away angle from the corner and you're against another operator, you will see them first. And so he took an an angle that was safe to clear that. And then at that point, you had the TP into spawn when Dig was leaning all the way towards A. So great. That's a really amazing round from C9 in terms of playing the information and rotations.
I'm sure Dignitas was thrown for a loop when Psalm fell to Shinobi over at A. And like obviously, Sova ult towards A. They're A. No, not so much. A well-executed plan. But DDK, I think this one might go long with 30-second waits on the clock here for Cloud9. They're trying to pressure Dignitas into a situation that they don't like. And C9 feels like they have the better opening confidence shot on that 30 seconds. Sees him. There was right there. That's what you're talking about. Further from the angle, Shanks takes damage because he cannot yet see his opponent.
Yeah, it works like it does in real life as well. So, and that's a pretty big arrow there. Psalm's right next to you. You don't expect the server to be right there necessarily.
Yeah.
So, and the arrow can go behind you if you're deep. So great timing found by Psalm there. It's hard to always have great timing with that, but and now Def is in position with the operator too, so he's ready to go. And they're going to try to... Oh, this is actually genius. They're actually just contacting in, walking all the way. There's no sound cues, and so there's no peeks from Dig. They're going to get caught off guard completely by this. Look how far Tense is. He's so deep, he sees the cape. And, there's the jiggle. And surely Def will come in for the peek here to finish Tense off. But Psalm is going to get lost on the site, and Tense hits the headshot onto Def. He was expecting the bait setup, and just like that, the B side is won just by walking in.
Absurd, DDK. Never in a million years should that happen, especially to get that many members in without a single peek. They didn't even have to smoke spawn, so that means there's utility for the post plant that C9 can now use inside the head of Dig. Once again, we saw a few of these rounds onto Haven, and now does Dig have the retake. Very low here for Shanks coming in. And we'll see if they can get any breach abilities down. The breach ultimate was up, but Dig does not decide to use it against 4. The probability may be still too low to win the round as Vice finds one as they take the guns away from Dignitas. Can they take down Shanks and drop that up?
Again, really well played on this attack aside from C9. I'm pretty impressed. We're not seeing them trying to... This is like a question I asked at the beginning.
Okay.
We're not seeing them trying to brute force stuff. They are actually just trying to play the information battle and win on rotations. And
very smart.
And their reads are really good so far, and you can see how difficult it is. Dig are sort of encouraged at this point to be a bit more aggressive with taking information, but the risk of it is so huge because if you do lose a player and go down in numbers early in the rounds, it's like it's such a dream if you're the IGL for the attacking side and you get a 5v4 with over a minute to play, because you know that you can, you pretty much know that you can go into a site and have an enormous advantage on the numbers. So we need to see more from Dig here and Shanks. If he can get deeper, if he can get control of Gelato, that'd be huge, but he needs assistance. He can't do it without some assistance and utility to flash something. Oh, and Vice has spotted him as well with the cam. Oh, Shanks has to fall back now. And they will lose control of A main at the beginning. Another loss for Dig.
Shanks as well. What a chance to take. That could have been an easy double peek from somebody else towards the right side of Gelato there. I love the pressure he's putting on. And again, this is how we saw Dignitas beat TSM. Shanks with the opening first bloods to just distort what his enemy wants to do. Schmidt shot in the head with a dart there, but he still takes down Zom. He doesn't care. And C9 are loving the B site, but Shanks is loving the frags, and he's getting a few more with this operator. Held off by the digital molly of Killjoy for a moment, but a 3v3 does Dig have this retake.
Yeah, he actually got the spike down, so that kills all the time. Oh, he gets to see over the top of this wall here.
Thought that was Killjoy's head for a second.
I'm with you on that one. So I held my breath for a second, but Shanks will try to make his way forward. They're holding the angles. They can't peek into this, and he knows that. So it's going to be slow and steady here for this retake as they start to clear these positions, get closer and closer. They know that there is a player on the flank at this point because Shanks just got shot in the back, and that's a huge problem, leaving Superman just by himself. And Vice, great peek from him. C9 convert another round, and Shanks did everything he could there. He tried to get the aiming pressure. He rotates to Cat, gets a pick, rotates again, knows that he has to keep repositioning. Yeah. Still, unfortunately, in a round like that, it's not going to be enough.
And I think, DDK, we have to recognize here, we look at this Cloud9 composition. What ults do they have that are just going to wipe around? They don't have the Blade Storm. They don't have an Orbital Strike. They don't have a Run It Back. everything they have is based off utility and aim. They are hitting their shots. They are taking the sights, and the utility is where it needs to be. The most you're going to really do is have a Sova ult that goes across the map. Reyna has to hit her shots. Omen can TP. You can find out where they are, and you might be able to clear a site. None of these instantly went around for you, but they're still able to pick up so many with what seems to be kind of that lack of ulti team that would win you rounds.
Yeah, and one difference here for Dig is that they have Shanks in mid there, and I believe he is on the operator. And they've got Death, who is doing Shanks' job in B main, providing presence and pressure. And so now that Mid-Smoke is gone, Shanks has the ability to make plays. It is risky, but he's Jet, and that's kind of the point, is that your Jet can be the X factor in that way. So we'll have to see if that's something that comes into play. Because if they rotate now back into mid, Shanks should be able to pick off one of these players, and that's kind of what they're going for here.
He's peeking it.
He's counting on the rotation back into the delayed mid take.
Maybe a Lear coming in from 10s, but they're waiting for the push. And also the smoke from Shinobi. A little bit safer now to make their way out to the lane.
I think he has an angle on Cat.
That's big from Death.
Yep, angle on Cat. From that smoke, but not deep enough. Oh, the breach ult, the rolling thunder. And oh no, Shanks may be biting off more than he can chew there at the catwalk position. Relics is going to find the back of his head. And, well, Relics is all that's left at this point. He's in trouble. Another kill coming through, and he's got one on either side. He can split these up in 1v1s. He has to be perfect, but it will be Death that takes him down. And that will be another round for Dig. So it's been a drought, but they've managed to find some sustenance.
I was wondering when we're going to see the kind of the ult retakes, the hits. Where would those be used? Because we've seen that breach ult in rounds where it might have been the retake. Dig does pick up another one, and this could easily be a 6-6 going into our second half. Cloud9 picking up a few more rounds would be huge to start defensive side.
Got to watch for those gaps in those smokes as well. That tiny little gap towards catwalk's all you needed. All Shanks needed.
A big B strike here from Cloud9. And they got full weapons on this. We'll see what utility they can pull out. It has been a bit of a push from Dignitas. Dignitas setting a precedence here that draws out a bit of C9's utility. They do push again, and Cloud9 wants all of it. W to be impressed.
The Sova arrow, though, keeping Sam in a position to succeed there as he manages to wipe out two players. That's more than you could have asked for. Shanks, though, unable to deliver the one kill he needed to, and that leaves Death in a position that seems almost impossible. By himself on the site, and Shinobi will take his head clean off. And that's a 2v3 retake here. It's not all said and done just yet, but it's looking very difficult. And Relics, oh, Relics, he gets traded out, but Poise, he has everything to do.
Blinds through. He's got a lot of utility. Waiting for the peek, almost hits the shot, and Shinobi again. Cloud9 coming up with the accuracy. The sight take from Shinobi with 10s behind him. Shinobi with the cleanup shot. And it's not taking them much utility once they hit this site. They are just on point with where Dig is. They are taking Dig down. Here's it again.
Such good work from Sam, especially with the Bulldog as well.
He did what he could.
Yeah, he really did.
Too late.
It was, I think, it's often a tipping point in like one duel, and it felt like it was that Shanks going down.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the tipping point to bring it to C9's favor. And they have a lot more players towards the Gelato position at the moment, and the bomb is also there. It almost feels like they want to go in pretty quick. They have full ultimate, so presumably this is a Killjoy setup coming here from them, and they can clear the site with Hunter's Fury as well.
Push up from Psalm. He's going to head back into B and let the team know I did not see too much. Def pushed up into mid, but they're not gaining too much info. This is going to be the ult coming in as well from Shinobi. Shot towards the back, and he drops poised as Vice gets the kill onto Shank, disrupting the site. As they fly through, Superman tries to put himself in the frying pan and comes up with a kill, though, before he goes down. And it's been so scattered, it seems like Dig is always stretching to get themselves back on the C9 strats.
Yeah, like C9 opening the round with so many ultimates, really just, it feels so hard to deal with. Sam, though, he manages to find a kill in that 1 versus 1, and here goes the arrow to try to reveal some positions. There's the Hunter's Fury, maybe a chance, even though it's slim. Def has made his way onto the site, and now he's the only person that can do anything here. He's got the Stinger, though, and it's not going to be enough. 8-4 at the end of the first half in favor of C9, and it's not too surprising. They played very well.
from the first map to the second map, it seems like they've just had so much aggression and trust in each other in these site takes. We see the combination they're using in just this death ball in the end of the rounds. They didn't have much info at B or mid. They said just A, just B. We're playing better than our opponents right now, and we're seeing that in the shots. We'll see what happens here first round. A good distribution of ghosts and classics mean you're seeing the utility that they need with those classics. Actually, Mitch goes for armor here as well on his classic with maybe that turret and bot. A few mollies, why not? Can't pass up the mollies.
Yeah.
See how they start this one off, though. A good spread, and it looks like we'll have Breach checking out the flanks. See what Poise can do. I think he's just trying to create the distraction. Obviously, he's the solo, but with no follow-up after that vault line, you're like, really? I don't think you're coming here.
Yeah, so far I haven't truly felt the impact of Breach. And
it's true.
I'm hoping that on the attacking side, we're going to see more impact in that way. So now that Dig have killed some time, eliminated some possibilities, they're going for that A hit. And this is where the Killjoy has been set up, at least most of the gear here for Killjoy is set up directly around the site.
See how they hit it. I'm expecting, yep, Superman already with the flash out. Shanks in front with Def, and they're going to try to get themselves in. Flash towards Jenny as they dash into the site, and 3 already here for Cloud9. Can they answer back? 10 Shinobi coming up with huge kills, and Def's only left in the site. In a blink of an eye, Dignitas is wiped from the A bomb site.
C9 are really good in these positions. Like they're so strong in their setups. There's so much more confidence from them in these spots than we've seen for Dig, and it just they make it look so easy because of how they've decided ahead of time how they'll defend certain things, and that worked out so nicely. And I love the jump peeking from Mitch. Actually, that was at the back of the site, just using the
classic armor he had,
the heaven sort of thing to bump his head against it, so he has less airtime. It's just very small details, but it's really good to see.
It is a really great point. Seeing Dig as well try to enter that. You should never be 3 in a line. You need to spread out 10s. Really able to come up big there on some kills with Relics just behind him for those kills. We'll see how second round goes here of our second half. Should be easy to clean up for Cloud9 as Dig slowly moving towards a tree work again on the side. You are going to have Poised over there working B, so a little bit slower as they try to figure out some information on the side of Dig.
I like the Killjoy a lot on this map. I want to make a point about that in a moment because we do have this contention over the tree position. It looks like we're seeing that Killjoy utility really shining as they will deny Dig any further positioning forwards. And Dig are going to have to take control towards market now. This is really all they have going for themselves. And this is how they can open up the round and then play off of the damage that's done.
I do think Killjoy is one of her best maps is Ascent. Just the ways you can place it, the length of angles you have on what would be the enemy's flank here as Relics gets himself to safety. His smoke's recharging in just a few seconds so he can give himself cover. But now going into that A site through tree, Dig executing their strat and only coming up with a few here is Cloud9 making quick work of the Dig squad.
Mitch making the Spectre look like a phantom. It's always nice. And that's 10 to 4
Those
now.
rounds feel good.
C9 3 away. And I was going to say, like, if you're attacking against C9 right now, you have a Cypher and a Sova on B. Like, Sova himself with anyone, with a Sage or whatever, already feels very difficult to get into B and without taking damage. And Sova also, if he can survive, the retake of B is really strong. And then on the other side of the map, you've got Killjoy locking down A with so much utility, and it's just so difficult. It feels very difficult.
For sure. And this is, I mean, C9's composition would be the one I was talking about earlier, that if C9 went down, say it was just 8-4 in favor of Dig, C9 now being on defense with this Sentinel composition would be gross. And it would probably be one of those games where it goes to even and then C9 would be able to take it. Here, they're just vibing. They've been feeling it all series long, and we're going to see them now 10 to 4 over Dignitas. First map, Haven, taken by C9, which was Dig's pick. And now Cloud9 loves their Ascent. And they're going to try to take another win here to make that still 100% in that victory rate. 1 minute left into this round. Shinobi almost meets Superman in the smoke, and we'll see how this plays out.
So Superman might be able to make a play because he knows that they have no idea he's this close. And indeed, Shinobi is completely caught off guard by that forward position of Superman. And that gives Dig a chance back into the round after going down 4 versus 5 early. Now we're all tied up 4 versus 4. They're setting up for the B split. But there's 2 players at the back of the B side here. So this may be rather difficult. I'm not sure if a Paranoia is still available, but that could really crush the round.
Surprised we're not seeing Phoenix, just kind of as a one-off as well in these comps. Still duelists coming out, but more aggression towards Reyna. The run it back doesn't seem to be priority. Flash comes from Omen. And kind of speaking of Omen, I definitely want to touch on Superman because we see his Brim be so effective. Maybe the lack of smokes that they're finding on Dig is preventing them from getting the angles, the options that they need. Here, making their way into that B site. Big kills from Vice, but he gets dropped as poised, and Superman come up with 2 kills that help them to possibly take the round.
Wow, only 1 kill there out of that setup at the back of the site. I would have expected a lot more, but it looks like Mitch is alone. He's able to take down Shanks. There's 2 more to go on the site directly. They're playing together here with trade spacing. They want to guarantee that the kill's traded, and so there should be a chance there for Mitch, and as you can see, that's exactly what happens. Don't split up in the 2 versus 1. Stay together so you can trade the kill.
Never a chance to be picked off by yourself. And they both left the site. That's great, too. We talked about kind of the ring around the rosy after bomb plants, and you go through Haven window into garage kind of thing. It's since the old days, and ring around the rosy, and they both do it together. 10-5 here, 3 away from taking this match. Cloud9 definitely informed to look like they should be flying through the upper brackets.
Oh, it's such a grim prospect right now for the Dig side. I wonder if they'll find their footing in this one. As you said, it's Ascent, so there's always a way back in, but looking at this round, we go for that mid presence early on. The spike, as you can see, is dropped towards Gelato, and once Dig have mid presence secured, the question becomes how far do they want to secure that control? Do they want to push, make sure that C9 cannot be working from market, and also push back the spawn angle? That creates a lot of pressure and makes it feel like the attackers are going for a B split, and then you can quickly go back into a cat play, and that's something we've seen quite often, and that's likely what's going to happen here with the presence that we see in mid and towards Pizza from Superman. As you can see, the spike is still towards Gelato. However, as I say that, and as they were positioned to possibly a split, we're seeing that now the spike goes back towards B.
We have not seen Def leave that cam yet. Everybody's just walking by him. He's still in it. Finally leaves it to follow up with his team. But in and out of that cam alerts the 2 C9 members at B. You can see a bit of movement already. 10's already going through spawn. The re-click of the camera may have given away that Dignitas want B here. Arrow goes out. Oh, that's going to get a good one on the team. He sees everybody, and here it comes. Can Cloud9 stop this, knowing it's all of Dignitas coming through that B main?
Shinobi's in so much trouble, doesn't know which angle to look at, has to commit to one of the 2. Which way will he be wrapped from first? Finds the spike, catches the Omen TP at the back and denies it, and he's still alive, still kicking, still doing damage at the back of the site. Now he has bought enough time for assistance to come through. Gosh. He'll finally go down, but the defenders will win. As you can see, there is no more time, and that was so well played. Oh my god, that arrow came in. It could not have been more perfect on the timing.
Not a single member of Dig was ready for that, and they all got seen. Had to rush. Cloud9 putting on the pressure here, and we'll see it one more time. Well played as well for Shinobi in the site.
If they push in like half a second earlier, I feel like they just overrun it, because they would have caught him like pulling out the arrow or just having shot it, or it's just so crazy how that round can come down to such slim timings.
Wow. Dignitas just cannot catch a break right now. What an early rotate from C9. It seems like they are on point and moving correctly around the map. Mid-trip for Def on Dig, B-trip. So they're looking to focus towards A. They say we'll have a bit of a retake. We have our intel on one side of the map, and so if we do need to retake, we have that dart. We have Cypher coming in. And we'll see what they do. Dignitas does have Neural Uplink, and you have 2 ults on the side of C9. With Empress and the Killjoy ult.
So what's interesting here is that TP is going to be heard, I believe, by 10s on the catwalk position. So that's something that acts as pressure. They hear the drone as well. There is the option to use this pressure to try to fake, So we'll have to see if that's going to be on the cards for them. It does appear that the spike is now traveling away from B and back towards A, so it's likely not a fake, and it's the real deal, clearing out the A main position. They don't have a clearance of the Killjoy utility around Catwalk and Tree yet, though, so that might be an issue.
Dig now trying their hand here at the A site. Quick smoke coming out as well from inside the site as they start to clear up. Mitch gets 1 kill with the Spectre, poised answers with the Phantom, so a bit of that bonus round for C9. Can they keep these bonus guns and put that much more money in the bank? Good kills from the back of the site. Mitch, you're ridiculous. Another one, maybe almost with the 4th as he shoots poised in the face. It's traded, and Def is able to come up big. That was a touch and go round for Dig, but they took down Mitch and they get the win.
How much money does C9 have? They must have so much money.
It's been a lot of rounds on this half, so they've gotten the back and forth, actually. That's what kind of puts them back to 1,900, 3,000 for a win. And now, again, the reset here for the defensive side of C9. They're on at that 1,900s.
Yeah, totally misread that one then. But we do get the 10 Sheriffs, so that's always a win. And I'm curious to see what's set up, because on the defensive side, you don't necessarily just want to sit and wait and all spread out when you have pistols. You got to accept the fact that you have a huge disadvantage, and you want to mitigate that disadvantage by trying to at least start small. You're not necessarily aiming to win this around like this, but you can certainly make plays that are specifically going to catch, let's say, a couple players, maybe get a couple kills, and then maybe you have then the opportunity to steal a gun away. These are some win conditions that you can set for yourself in a round like this, where you know that it's a bit too much to ask to play to win the round in its entirety. And we can see there's a, I don't know if this congregation in mid is going to be what actually happens, because we are in a timeout, but we'll see. We'll see if they decide to go elsewhere when the timer is now ticking down again.
Just got a pie to the face. I think it was delicious though. It's you know that pizza is perpetually hot? It has steam coming off of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that.
Every single game. I want to know how they made it. Anyway, Breach Ultimate coming in here. Rolling Thunder, a possibility to be used. I feel like it's just better used at B for the amount of space you're going to hit. They can hide in Haven. They can still be under in Hell, or hide in Haven. Hide in Heaven, and still be under Heaven, and you may not get to them in time. Relic's enjoying himself a slice here as we wait for a quick pause.
Wait, did we get a pause for 1 second? They got paused again or something? I swear we were on 0.24 and now we're on 0.23. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, it just definitely feels like a way back in for Dig, but it still feels like C9 have so many advantages, and obviously even just ignoring the round differential, which is obviously huge. They're 2 away from winning this series, and man, Dig can't go out like that.
It's tough. The way they've been made to go through these rounds is not a way that they've been able to combine ultimates, right? We see the Rolling Thunder now, but there's nothing else there. They're just going to have to use a bit of util. So the frags aren't coming in as consistently. They can't get ult rounds that may be able to change the game, because a lot of times when you get, as we say, to round 4, 5, 6, depending on your fragging, that's a big change. You could have 3 ults on one side, and the game just starts to sway and flow in the direction of whoever wins that round. Here, we're not seeing that. Dig can never kind of combine 2, and it's just shut down by C9. And their intel this game has literally put them on top. There's nothing else that really, I mean, their aim as well, because we just see them going in with duelist comps, but their intel has been far and above anything you need, and that's why they're just getting these seamless rounds.
Yeah, right now I have the sense, the feeling of from what we've seen, that is kind of a matter of time, because it feels like C9 are always getting advantages.
Yeah.
And so it feels like, okay, it's just a matter of time then until they will, close down those 2 extra rounds that they need. But I'm curious as to whether Dig will already change anything up, or what they'll be looking to adjust, because they do have their backs against the wall. Right now C9 are really controlling the pace, and that's something that is important to think about. When you have the, attacking team, running their offense, allowing them to just have the pacing that they want is something you want to try to avoid. So we'll see if now we go back into this game, if C9 will be able to deny Dig a comfort zone to their attack.
Absolutely. And we do see they aren't running the op just yet. Not a lot of teams, or not should I say not a lot. We've heard teams say, like Sentinels running the op may kind of mess up the way that you're positioning. You want people together. You don't just want a straggler trying to make big shots here. So again, Dig gathers. Now they have instead Def on the side. This was poised before on the breach, but Def was usually the lurker, and it seems to work out this round. Mitch, however, is always coming up big. And again, he does that. Remember, this is going to be that round where not much money in the hands of C9, so they're looking to put down the pistol shots, as it's going to be the 8 site for Dig.
This is getting a little scary, I have to say. They're very low on HP.
Oh,
Tens will find
C9.
a penetration kill onto some, and all of a sudden it's a 3 versus 3. The Killjoy lockdown has been set upon this bomb site, and that means that they can't get the spike planted. They got 40 seconds to go. They're getting chased by Mitch's Classic.
What?
How is Mitch getting so much
way.
value out of the Classic? This makes absolutely no sense. And all of a sudden, Depp is wondering what the hell just happened to my team.
You got detained?
Oh my god. This is crazy. They went for the mid burst with 5 players, and they made it work. Even though they got all spotted by a Sofa arrow, which triggered a fast push into the A site, they still lose the round.
No. Oh my. Okay, 12-6 here. Cloud9 is just having a field day. What a play from Mitch. I mean, he was probably scratching his head too. Two? He ran out there, like you said, with that Classic, and he just cleaned up. Great to see the Killjoy starting to get a few impact plays here in the maps to see how teams are using her, as it's available now in this Ignition Series tournament. Moving on, C9 looks like they want to keep going in that winner's bracket. Then Dig down for a rematch with TSM with one more round here. DDK, can Dig stay alive in this best-of-3 series?
Well, Dig have 3 ultimates, C9 have 4 ultimates, so this could be a very action-packed round, especially considering that, you know, Dig can't afford to lose any rounds, so they have to just spend everything here. Surely they got the Rolling Thunder as well available, as Poised manages to keep himself alive against Tens by landing that Sheriff headshot. And right now we can note that Superman is on the spike, has the spike on his back, and he's towards the B site. He is now creeping backwards, so it looks like they're thinking about hitting the A site here on a split potentially. Again, you know, you have that mid presence as the attackers. This does make it feel like a B play, so now they go for the walk towards A main, but look who it is, Mitch. He's been so reliable.
Can he hit it? One? Not the second one, no. We're always in there with the caster curse when it needs to be there, right? Making sure we hit him. The Odin from Shinobi from the top. And can he make it work? I like the choice to put the dart a little farther out. He would not have gotten much information if you put it close to the wall there, but it is the take by Dig and a nice flank by Death. He now is on the flank. Where was this in the beginning of the game, DDK?
Yeah, finding his way up through that spawn position. Very important. However, it's not done just yet. 2 versus 4. Do C9 feel like they want to go? Well, never mind. Now Relix is dead. It truly is a fool's errand to try to get anything more from the side, at least. Vice is in a pretty exposed position. He can't cross without having to take a fight. If he wins this fight, he can get out of dodge. The chickling here is really causing problems and buying time for Shanks to get into position to trade. And there go all the daggers. Slussing up Vice.
And that's a few of the rounds. You mentioned at the beginning, DDK, 3 ults available. That was one of the rounds they needed to combine with. It's the first time we really saw them start to organize a combo of strats to get them the win. C9 here looking at a double op buy. They want to make this one the shutdown. Tens, what you gonna get? Classic, man.
Yeah, this is really interesting because there are somehow Dig actually didn't spend the Rolling Thunder the last round.
Yeah.
So they have that available to
that is good.
To try and do something here. And I wonder whether they'll try to save it for to deny a retake or if they're going to use it to take the site. Okay, well, running into operator number 1, that's not good. Losing Death straight away. And there it is, the Rolling Thunder. It's going to be used to take the site. We'll have to see how successful this will be.
Psalm takes down Shinobi. This is the entry now coming in for Dig. They feel good as they're in, but the post plan has been a bit of a problem. Can they set up the defense? Bomb's now going down after they all check the site. It took a little bit, but Shanks does grab Tens. This makes it a bit easier. 3v3 DDK and Dig's backs against the wall here on the post plan.
And C9, they don't really have much in the way of retake ability with what they have, but what they can do is they can deny the exit from the site. So that's something that they can think to do here. Just make sure that every single player from Dig just loses their guns. That is something that they can try to work for. But that said, we do have a Paranoia set up, so we'll see if that can do something additional here as Relix tries to push, and he will at least, again, kill time on the bomb. Mitch is taking him down, and all of a sudden, just like that, they're going for it off the back of those kills, and they make it work, and there is just enough time for the defuse. That is absolutely unreal, but I think that really encapsulates this series. C9 always have the firepower in any situation to take it, and what a decisive matchup we had here from them.
That's a great point, DDK. They always have the firepower because you mentioned just before the site retake, they don't have much utility to retake. It was the one blind coming across from Omen, and they were able to crossfire the site. Cloud9 comes in so strong, and it just seemed like they were above Dignitas throughout both maps, even on Dig's pick of Haven. Cloud9 found victory here, and they face Dig again. We have to see Dig face off against TSM, which will be a sick rematch already. I'm sure TSM wants revenge. But again, maybe Dig gets to come back up and kind of right the ship against Cloud9, because I'm sure they did not want to go to the lower bracket like that.
That would be awesome, because there'd be so much drama if Dig did defeat
Again?
TSM. Like, the trash talking would be amazing, and then that, yeah. So I'm kind of hoping for that storyline almost.
Yep.
Sorry to any TSM fans, but I think that would produce a lot of drama, so that'd be kind of fun.
Absolutely. So with that game being over, Cloud9 keeps themselves in the winner's bracket.